If you were to judge a book by its cover, 1999's WinBack might first appear like a poor man's Metal Gear Solid, but you'd be wrong. In fact, on the contrary, WinBack's cover-based system and laser sight mechanic was highly influential to both games like Metal Gear Solid 2 and Resident Evil 4. Developed by Omega Force, the folks known for the Dynasty Warriors series, WinBack provides a unique blend of third-person action infused with Virtual Cop-style shooting galleries. In WinBack, you play as a young Jean-Claude Van Damme, or rather Jean-Luc Cougar, a member of a special covert action team, better known as SCAT. What an acronym. SCAT is trying to flush out a terrorist group run by its leader, Colonel Kenneth Coleman. The terrorist group have taken control of a satellite-based weapon and used it to attack a military installation housing the controls. In response, the Secretary of Defense has contracted SCAT to enter the military base and reclaim control. However, en route to the facility, their chopper was struck down. The members of SCAT are all but scattered. It's up to Jean-Luc to find his missing team members, stop the terrorist cell, and destroy the satellite control center before it has a chance to recharge and fire again.
Bitch.
For the most part, I want to stay clear of spoilers here in this review, so you can experience it for yourself. So I'll only show story-related moments from the very beginning of the game. But I will say that the storytelling in WinBack is actually pretty compelling. The majority of the dialogue is well written and believable, and there's so many unexpected twists and drastic turns during the campaign. It's an enjoyable ride. Like many N64 games, these days it takes a couple minutes to readjust to what you're doing. But once you do, the controls here are solid. That said, I highly recommend if you're playing on Switch, if you can, play with the official N64 controller. Having the C button split across the Pro controller or mapped onto the left stick is something that I personally find a bit awkward. With the N64 controller, everything is as it should be. You'll be using the left and right C buttons to reposition your angle around corners. All the while, A is your go-to action button. You'll be using it to shoot, perform hand-to-hand combat, open doors, pick up items, evade gunfire, and most importantly, move in and out of cover. Which brings us to one of the coolest things about WinBack's cover mechanic, all the fun different ways you can sprain out of cover and take down your enemies in action movie style. By holding R, you'll enter a firing stance, and this game has an effective lock-on system. But you can also use the awesome laser sight mechanic to free aim around the screen. This way you'll be popping off headshots, shooting limbs around tight corners, or getting through some of the game's many obstacles. The obstacles are primarily a variety of laser traps that result in instant death. At times, it can be one of the most frustrating parts about the game, because some laser trap sections require absolute perfect timing. This section here in particular, found on a roof, is a nightmare. A nightmare only made worse when you realize you have to go through it twice, because some dickhead comes out and turns one of the lasers back on, blocking your would-be exit. Thank the stars, you can now save yourself a lot of headaches, hassles, and horse manure by using save states. There's a number of weapons to play around with. You'll start out with 3. Your standard pistol, which comes with a perk of unlimited ammunition, a machine gun, and also a shotgun, all of which you'll find ammo for, and medkits as well, scattered around the stages. On top of that, you'll find a powerful rocket launcher, a silenced handgun, and a number of C4 charges. The level designs provide some great shooting galleries, with twists here and there. Like this section where the boxes start moving along a conveyor belt, or here where the enemies creep out from a window above. The galleries feel like what you'd get if you had Virtua Cop become a third-person shooter. Each area will eventually lead up to a big boss battle, throwing you into an arena against different members of the terrorist cell. The N64 version of WinBack is looking buttery on the Nintendo Switch. I like the smoothed out visuals, and looking at the character model of John Luke here, it almost has a remastered-like quality to it. As for the environments, don't expect a truckload of variety. Despite having a large number of stages, you'll be visiting familiar territory as you go in and around the concrete facility, where the entire game takes place. It's not something that really bothers me, but if you're expecting a lot of varied scenery, you won't find that here. The music isn't going to win any awards, but it does a good job delivering the tone. Keiji Yamagashi, the composer who recently did some work on Streets of Rage 4, put together some simple and short looping tracks that are actually quite catchy and enjoyable. It helps bring home the feeling that you're playing through some classic 90s action movie. A nice touch is how the music will speed up and get more and more dramatic the lower your health bar becomes. The game has multiple endings, depending on how long it takes you to get through certain portions of the game. In addition to the great single-player campaign, there's split-screen multiplayer, which can now be enjoyed online for up to 4 players. You get a handful of arenas to select from, and you can play a variety of different characters. Most of the SCAT members will be unlocked from the get-go, but there's a lot of characters you can unlock, 18 in fact. Some of which you'll unlock simply by clearing the story mode, others you'll unlock by getting above certain scores in either story or the unlockable trial mode. And the multiplayer is a lot of fun, with a lot of content, both solo and team deathmatches, lethal tag, where you are in possession of a white cube and score points when shooting your opponent. Quick draw has you racing around the stage to shoot 7 cubes. The player who shoots down all 7 first wins. And lastly, cube hunt, We'll have you running around the stage to pick up 7 different colored cubes in a specific order. Oh, and how could I forget good old big head mode, which was something that was seen in a lot of games back in the time. If only more games had fun hidden little things like this these days. There's a number of other modes you can unlock for single player. Max Power mode. In this mode, you'll start with all weapons and infinite ammo. You can unlock this mode by scoring over 20,000 points in the story mode. Sudden Death mode. As the name suggests, it's sudden death. All enemies will be killed in one shot, as will you. This mode unlocks by getting the best ending on hard difficulty. And the previously mentioned Trial mode. Here you play select individual levels. Trial mode will be unlocked after clearing the game on any difficulty.
Give it up! You're out of options!
WinBack is a game I enjoyed a lot back in the day. If you ever had one of those games you rented from Blockbuster on more than one occasion, this was one of those games for me. I was quite surprised actually to see it included for the expansion pass. It's a bit of an overlooked game, but a damn fine one if you ask me. And I'm sure this isn't the last time I'm going to replay it either. The game was also re-released on the PlayStation 2 in 2001, with updated visuals, voice acting, and you can have bots in multiplayer, so maybe you want to check that version out. Albeit the voice acting is pretty laughable.
If we make it out of here alive, I think I'll start going to church again.
It won't help to think about it. There's only one way out.
I guess you're right. Okay, break time's over. Let's get those bastards.
Now you're talking. Let's go.
I think I prefer the N64 version where I can leave the voices up to my own interpretation of Jean-Claude Van Damme and Carl Weathers. One little thing I like to point out, maybe because it drives home that action movie vibe for me, is this cool little section for all your team members showing their status. If they're alive, if they're missing, or if they're, dead.
Wake up, Claire! Jim's dead! They're dead! They're all dead!
Anywho, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, consider liking, commenting, and if you haven't already, subscribing and ringing my bell. With that being said, I'll catch you on the next video. Den signing off.